It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, April 8th. So today we have the moon in her place of power in Cancer all day. And of course, we are building towards the very first quarter moon in Cancer that will be taking place early tomorrow morning. So the build up to the first quarter phase is always a trigger filled one, always an activated one. We feel the energy, the intensity building towards the very first opportunity for us to make a leap forward, to take a step, to take an action, to make a move forward since the new moon. So if you listen to the ascension forecast for this week and you've listened to the daily forecasts this week so far, you would know that the first part of this week was meant for us to kind of sit with ourselves, to sort through our thoughts, sort through our feelings, and observe when the universe was going to give us an opportunity to actually move forward and actually see some of the foundational cornerstones of our new path and mission be brought into our physical realms. Well, now we're at the latter part of this week where we're going to actually start seeing that action. And that action, that shift forward, that leap forward is kind of circulating around this first quarter moon in Cancer. So we have a lot to sort through as we build this energy up. We have to keep in mind that the moon in Cancer is very connected to the past, very protective of our emotions, of our family, of our home, of oneself. We want a cozy, safe, secure place in order to retreat from the world and sort through our thoughts and feelings. And our intuition is very strong. We're recognizing where it is that our boundaries have been tested and where it is that we have to stand up for ourselves and where it is that we're being offered a choice point, a crossroads, if you will, and that the decisions that need to be made from the heart space instead of the head space. And ideally, the two will agree and we will find a balance among those two so that we can operate from a whole space, a whole energy, a whole core function moving forward. So today we have 8 different aspects. 6 of them involve the moon. I'm going to be honest, the very first part of the day, early, probably up until about the halfway point, it's going to be a little bit tough on our heart and our head. We're a little bit introverted. We're trying to sort through some things. The moon bumps into Saturn, then bumps into the true node, then bumps into Mars. All of these aspects are tension filled. They're all conflicting. Why? Because the moon in Cancer, first of all, bumping into Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is pushing us to boss up into new roles and responsibilities that are karmically scripted for us, we're having a little bit of resistance. Again, the moon in Cancer is overly attached to the past. We don't really want to change things. We want to romanticize past events in order to give us an excuse to stay in the present moment. And Saturn is an Aquarius energy, thinking of the future, constantly taking futuristic visions and dreams and trying to break them down in manageable pieces in order for us to boss up in this present moment, take control, stand in our power, stand in our authority to start building new routines, relationships, roles, responsibilities that will help us manifest the dream and the vision that we want for ourselves in the futuristic vision and dream that we're having. However, the moon in Cancer really doesn't want to focus on the future right now. So this is why we're having a little bit of a conflict. And we're feeling the weight of the world on our shoulders at this point. This particular aspect is kind of making our roles and responsibilities and the commitments that we have really put some pressure on us. And it is up to us to be aware of the events, the tasks, the chores, the relationships, the dynamics in our lives that we dread, that we hate, that sucks the life force energy out of us. We have to come to a realization that these things are not needed, that there is a way to revamp our tasks, our chores, our roles in order to bring life back into them so that we're not constantly feeling overweighted with roles and responsibilities that just we hate to do in our lives. The moon bumping into the true node, it is not a nice aspect. We're really questioning our path forward. Again, the moon in Cancer would rather, sit and be nostalgic about past events, not even wanting to sit in the present moment, just really focused on the foundation of what got us here. And in the process of doing that, of course, we open up wounds and we want to cry about it. We want to sit in victim mentality. We want to just have one last hurrah before we know that we're going to have to let that particular part of our past, our emotions, our thoughts, our memories go. The moon bumps into Mars in not the nicest way. Mars, of course, wants us to take action and moving forward. The moon in Cancer does not want to have any part of that. Mars, being in Aquarian energy, is very focused on the future as well, very focused on getting this, zap of energy to go ahead and move forward. And right now, we're not about moving forward. We're about sulking in the present moment as we reflect the past. The moon and Mars in this manner could not only bring anger, frustration, hurt to the surface, but it could also jack up the electricity moving through our bodies at this time, creating anxiety, restlessness, and an urge, a desire to act on impulse, which of course we do not want to do. We have Jupiter sextiling with the true node though, and it happens around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is kind of like a break in that thought process, a break in that energy, a break in the vibe. Jupiter, of course, is about growth and expansion, about abundance and blessings, and a new belief system. And because he's in Piscean energy, we're trying to lean further into our spiritual beliefs than our egoic beliefs. And Jupiter in Pisces is a water energy, and the moon being in Cancer is a water energy. So there's something happening here. It's very spiritual, very karmic in nature, where we are going to shift out of the what I want to call Debbie Downer energy that we've kind of started this day off with. And it kind of busts open the possibility and the perspective that we could have on the past and reshape it in a different way so that we understand that it was divinely guided, divinely scripted for our growth, for our spiritual expansion and understanding. And sextiling with the true node, this is like the true node is our soul's path. It's our soul's destiny. It is a futuristic path forward for our soul's mission, our soul's purpose. Having Jupiter and the true node come together in this way, it's almost like we get a glimpse of the future. It's almost like our intuition, our dream state gives us this overwhelming emotion that we can now use as inspiration to keep us we just want to stay out of the past, right? Like we're having a hard time detaching from past events. We're having a hard time detaching from the old sense of self that, typically speaking, is blocking us from moving forward in the way that we would like. So Jupiter and the true node right now, it's almost like we gain clarity, like we gain a vision, we gain an emotion, we're instilled with inspiration and motivation to actually break out of the funk of the past. If nothing else, to be positive and open-minded about the future in the present moment, if we won't allow ourselves to project ourselves into the futuristic vision and dream that many of us are actively working towards manifesting. The moon squares Chiron. Okay, like damn. The moon in Cancer in energy squares. It's a tension point. It's a conflicting point with Chiron, the wounded healer. Now, what do you think is going to happen here now? Well, I'll tell you. First of all, we're going to just say, oh no, screw that vision, screw that growth, screw that clarity and all those good vibes we just felt about the future and our present self. I feel better going back to the past and reliving all the hurt and pain so that it gives me an excuse to feel like crap. That's what it's going to do. And when we choose to do this, Chiron, who is the wounded healer, he has the wounds, he bears the wounds, he also has the wisdom to heal them. This particular tension point, this conflicting point, will take us back. But then we actually grow a little bit irritable about feeling the lower vibrational frequency. Our higher self knows better. We have huge amounts of energy coming in from the cosmos right now. This is where we get the ascension symptoms from, trying to break up the old trauma trapped in our cellular memories in our bodies, okay? Every cell that your body is made up of has DNA marker in it, and that DNA marker holds both the trauma and the healing that we have to do here in this physical realm. And so this particular aspect is almost like, no, I want to feel sad. I want to reflect. I want to be nostalgic. I like feeling low vibe. I like, setting up camp here. It feels safe to be attached to the pain and the trauma because that's who I am. That's what's made me. That is what shaped me. And Chiron, of course, in Aries, the wounded healer is in Aries. Aries is the ego identity. We are recognizing where it is that we become too attached and too intertwined to our pain and suffering, and where it is that we've actually created an identity out of it, which is just absolutely absurd. I'm going to ask you, take a deep breath right now. Close your eyes. I want to ask you, who would you be without your pain story? Who would you be without the hurt? Who would you be without the suffering? Who would you be without the past experiences that were dark in nature that has had a hand in shaping you? Who would you be? It's a scary concept. Many of us don't know who it is that we would be without the emotional, mental, karmic, and physical pain. We, again, have created ego identities out of the pain and suffering that we have experienced here in this physical realm. And the moon in Cancer squaring Chiron is here to show us where enough is enough, okay? We will get sick of the lower vibrations. We will get sick of re-looping the past in our mind space. We are sick of having that emotional activation every single time we go there. And from that, sometimes we need our back against a wall. We need to exhaust ourselves before we are ready to make a change, before we're ready to heal certain aspects of ourselves so that we can move on, we can move forward. Mercury sextiles Mars. Now, let me just say, this earlier aspect of the moon squaring Chiron, making us, happy to sit in our hurt and our pain. Mercury, who is in Aries. Mars, who is in Aquarius. Mars rules over Aries energy. This is the god of war, the inner spiritual warrior coming out to play. Our mental plane is like, you know what? No, screw this. I'm tired of this narrative, tired of these memories, tired of living like this. I'm tired of feeling like this. I got to get it out. I got to get it off my brain. I got to do something about it. Mercury, our logical, practical mind space, who can very much get obsessed with the past, is in Aries, and Aries has no time to think about the past. Aries only wants to start fresh. Aries wants to begin again. Mars, who is always looking to move forward, is in Aquarius. Aquarian energy is electric. It is ruled over by Uranus, the great awakener. Suddenly, there's a shock to the system, right? Suddenly, there's an epiphany, an aha moment, a moment of genius that will change our perspective and drag us out of the dark funk that we just chose to sit in. This is a time to not only level up in our mental plane, this is also a time to speak up. First of all, by being a little bit more direct, harsh, straightforward with yourself. Like, no, heart space, we are not going to set up camp there. No, mental plane, we are not negative Nancy here today, right? No, physical body, we are not going to do things that are going to make us feel bad about ourselves. We are going to do things that exhibit self-love and progress, right? So our mental narrative is like, we're tired of this. Mars is over here going, we're tired of this too. We just had an epiphany. We just had a change of heart. We just had a change in our mental plane. Now we are going to change our behavior. What are we going to change about our behavior? Well, first of all, I got some truth to speak. Let me get that off my chest. First of all, I have a conversation that needs to be had that I've been running away from. That needs to be had. And then we're going to make a huge leap forward in making sure that we get our ass out of the painful past and we only orient to the present moment, what we have control over, on what it is that we actually want to do for our future selves. The moon in Cancer bumps into Uranus in a very harmonious way, meaning that we are shifting out of that negative ass narrative, out of nostalgia and reflection on the painful experiences. We have this shift in perspective. We have this shift in our heart space. We are essentially digging ourselves out of this very, very dark hole that we found ourselves in. The moon bumps into Saturn in a very harmonious way, meaning we just passed the test. We bossed up emotionally. We bossed up in our mental plane. We bossed up because karmically speaking, we know that we cannot sit in the events of the past. We are no longer that person. Those events prepared us for the person that we currently are in order for us to walk in a state, in a fashion forward, in order for us to embrace and embody who it is that we've always been meant to be. This is a karmic aha moment, a karmic shift in our heart space, a karmic shift in our head space, preparing us for the circumstances that are about to rapidly change in our physical realms.